Hi guys, my name is Christina and welcome to my channel. And on this channel we talk a lot about how to create comics because this is my area of expertise and personal interest, but we'll also talk a lot about how to create art, how to enjoy creating art, and how to earn money with your art and how to do art professionally. So if any of this is interesting to you, please feel free to subscribe and ring a bell. This way you will be notified when the new video comes out, and also it will help my little channel grow, and so it will help you, it will help me. It's a perfect world. This video is part 2 in my how to make a comic series, where I decided to go very thoroughly through the whole process of creating comics and let you guys know everything I learned with trial and error about this, and hopefully it can help you with creating your comic. In previous video we were talking about how to create ideas for your comic and how to basically brainstorm them, realize which ones are more viable and which ones you will really be able to stick with and work with your comic. So I will link this video down below and over here, so if you missed this you can check it out. In this video we're going to talk about different formats that your comic can be created in and how to choose the one that is right for your comic. There are different ways of formatting your story, your comic, and presenting it to the reader. And especially nowadays where a lot of comics are online and available to read online, or just primarily and only are online, well, like web comics. My comic is an online comic as well. There is literally, the options for the formats really expanded and exploded, and you can do literally whatever you want with the format. Whether before you were always limited to the limits of printing books. So it has to be, you know, page by page, it has to be printed on a certain format, so it's usually like a standard book format. If you want something original, you gotta be hella, you know, popular and important, so they actually do some specific format for your comic because it's very expensive for all this printing machine to have some specific format. So in digital age and in digital comic age, however, you can do really whatever you want. So the main two things that you need to keep in mind while making your decision is what is best for your story and what is best for your business if you would like to continue with your comic creation as a business. That's what I do. So this is two things you need to keep in mind, and I would say what's the best for your story is obviously will be the best because it's just the good practice for your business to create a good product, and if your product is good, it's already benefiting your business strategy, but it's good to keep both in mind overall. What does it mean? What serves the story? So how I like to think about is you creating the story, and then you eventually will be showing the story to a reader. And the format is the way how you show the story to a reader and the bite size of your story that you give to the reader. This is basically a presentation. Think about it as, for example, like as a gallery. If you have your art, how you would present it to people, in what order, in which amount, how often, and or for example, I don't know, think about restaurant, you have this nice food and how you're gonna present it to people. Is it something that is just really entertaining, quick entertainment, like for example a burger, and you should be able to serve it fast and for everybody and it should be easy to access, or it's something that you have to really wait for that comes out but it's like amazing experience. Basically it is experience for your reader, how your reader consumes the story and how they get to know it, how they consume the story. And that's it on a nutshell, and it has to do with what your story about, what type of the story you're writing, what you think is the best way to present it. So for example, my story is a very, very long story. It's a fantasy story, it's gonna be running forever, and also I'm drawing in a very realistic style, very detailed, so it takes me quite a lot of time to produce a page. I keep working on different techniques, how to produce it faster and whatnot, and I talk about all of them on this channel. But overall it's a long story that takes a long time to produce, and I'm putting a lot of work in the story. It's not really quick entertainment. You really need to consume a lot of the story to start getting payoff, so as it would be with, for example, a novel or a TV show. So this is how my story is. So for example, I know that for me the best way I decided to share my story is page by page, and I release a page a week. So to me it gives me enough time to produce content constantly, but it also gives pretty regular update to my readers. I cannot update more than once a week, and I don't want to, for example, hold back to some pages to update it, for example, once a month, because it literally will be 4 pages and people might have forgotten what was going on. So I like constantly keep my story in people's mind and posting every week, so people kind of constantly get a little bit of my story. And overall, weekly updates is something that is pretty common. Bi-weekly updates, something that is very common. So for me, that's something something that serves my story and the speed of my story and my speed of creating the story. For example, if your story is very lighthearted and you're not drawing in complicated style and it's really something that is very easy to draw, you can draw 1 page per day, you can definitely just keep updating as you go and update a page per week. If it's something lighthearted that doesn't need and episodic and doesn't need your reader to constantly keep in mind what happened last episode, you can just update it every day if you want. Or for example, if you still draw very fast and your style is allowing you to draw very fast, but your story is also longer running and you want the reader to keep a track of the plot, it might be a good idea to, for example, post several pages, like bunches of several pages twice a week. That's why you communicate to your reader, for example, that the story has ongoing plot. So when you post like first time a week, it's a couple of pages and people see, oh, okay, I read one part of the story and then it's another installment, like another page. And then, for example, later in the week, they also have this another dose that communicate that this is the story that has plot, that is constantly ongoing, that has like, that you need to wait for next update. And then when next update comes out, it's more than just one installment and something more. So this is another interesting way to approach it. But it's literally the combination of how you think your story should be presented, at which speed, and it should be combined with how you're able to produce it. And on the business side, what is also very important to consider is how you're gonna literally earn money with the story, how fast you can produce, and which is the best way to earn money and what people will be willing to pay for. For example, if you have the same kind of idea like me and a lot of online artists like me, is that you're producing your comic online, but then eventually you're making money on producing additional digital content, like for example, something on Patreon, or selling the physical copy of your book. So if this is your strategy, so now you need to understand that every time you post your comic is kind of serves as an ad and as a trailer, because you're telling what product you're talking about, telling people that if you want something like this, you want more of something like this, or you want a physical version of something like this, think about it, because this is like a good preview for you. So in this case, you might want to consider, okay, what is the right rate to remind people about your comic? Or maybe you want to even consider to not completely post your comic as a page. Maybe you want to post a panel a day. So this way you can literally stretch a page for the week. So you can, for example, if your page has 7 panels, you can post a panel per day, and then people gonna be getting update every day. So people gonna be constantly reminded of your story, and at the same time you're still producing the decent amount. So, but you are giving like a little tiny tidbits. And for example, people are not gonna be even able to remember everything, because every time, if it's a panel, usually people don't remember what panel was yesterday, and they're gonna be constantly reading, rereading, engaging with your content. That can be a good idea. For example, another good idea might be you really on purpose withholding content. For example, you are able to do your comic a page every week, but you're posting, for example, a page every 2 weeks, but you have Patreon on which you're updating, for example, every week. So people who are your patrons, they get more volume, and then you're still providing free content, kind of like a preview for your free readers. And then, but then you're telling them that if they like that, they can get twice as much for a little money, for example, $1 or $2 per month. This is something also to consider. And then if you want to publish, like print your comic and sell physical copy, then you might want to spread out your releases of your pages smartly, so that you release quite a lot just before you launch your physical copy of your comic. Because for example, you might take 3 months like break to just prepare the pages and then start posting every day, either every other day, so that your reader constantly reminded of your product, and then by the time you finish with those pages, you present them a product that you're gonna sell. So then at this moment, you're really using your pages as an advertisement and as a trailer, as a hook, as something like this. So this is something also important to keep in mind. So it's a balance of the two, and I think it's important to think about the two at the same time, because I would say the story, what's important to the story is the most important. However, it's still like, keep business strategy in mind as well. If you can make money on something that you're absolutely passionate about, just don't start your comic thinking, oh my god, I gotta make millions, because first of all, it's gonna take a lot of time. It's very like earning money with ideas, with creativity, with something like this, like writing wise, it's a long-term game. Like for example, if you're a writer, you know that it's like you will be spending years writing a novel, and then eventually gonna sell it maybe in 10 years and get paid. Or for example, if you're a screenwriter, it is the same. You're working on this idea for years and years and years, and then you might be able to sell it. So it's never a quick buck, but leave a room for you to eventually make a business out of it. Keep that in mind, because if you are able to draw some extra resources to put right back into your passion. Isn't that amazing? That's the good stuff. That's all the things that you might want to consider. And then keep in mind also different websites that exist. If you're creating your comic online, there are different websites that you can use to post online and see if your comic really works with those websites. Like for example, there are obviously platforms that you can post your comic. Instagram, you can post your comic there. I started posting it on Instagram just for fun, and it seems to be actually working. There is Instagram, there is Webtoons, some people are still posting on DeviantArt, a lot of people posting on Patreon, but Patreon, like even though it's a very comfortable platform, it's not something that you want to have like as your only platform, because people have to pay to look at this platform. That's why you will not spread the news about your comic. You can for sure post it in group in Facebook, I think, if your audience is sitting on Facebook, a lot of things like that. So, but when you're choosing the platform, don't tailor your comic for platform. Tailor your comic for the way you want to present it, like how often do you want to post it, or your pages, do you want them to be square, do they want it to be strips, what experience you want for your reader, do you want them to just scrolling through a lot of pages having this long strip, or you just want to have them a page that can literally grab and use a wallpaper on your phone. I don't know. Think about that more than to serve the platform, because platforms, they might not last as long as your comic gonna last. For example, as I was creating my comic, I saw the rise and fall of DeviantArt, really. So if I were tailoring something for their specific structure, I would be in trouble right now, because I would have comic that I really tailored for something else. However, if your comic is a short thing, for example, you might tailor it for the platform. If you know that your comic, it will take you maybe a year to produce and it's like a pretty short story, you might. So it's all about understanding what is the best for your reader to experience, and understanding with how much you also can produce, and understanding the space that you might want to leave for later to create it into a business. I am not sure yet if I want to make a video about how to create your comic into a business, because there's something I just started figuring out. I just started earning money with my comic, and it took me a while to get there, and I'm still learning how to do this and how to research it. So when I learn it a little bit better and when I know a little bit more information, I'm gonna share it with you. Just leave a room for now. So this is, I think, a good advice. As I said, I just gave you different options of how things might go and ways how you want to think about it. But I'm not gonna give you any concrete example and any more ideas than that, just because there is so many ways how you can do it. And just keep in mind what serves your story the best, and how to present your story the best, and the experience you want your reader to have, and how you want to just organize it for yourself as well and match it correctly with your own productivity. Because comics, I think there's still more to come for the comics, and there's still more to come for comics overall, and especially for everything web, for entertainment online. We're just starting to tap into what can be done online, especially in 2020. We realized, damn, there is so much more that we can do there. So I think I don't want to limit you, and just go and explore all types of comics that are out online, and just research that and have fun and see what's the best for you, and think about which one also will be the most enjoyable for you. I included this video in the very beginning just because sometimes it's very important to consider how you want to present your comic before you're actually making your comic, because later on you might just have already a product on hands and don't know what to do with this product. You might want to start thinking about those things right away and just start planning, thinking about a format. So if you have a story, you want to decide if it's going to be a novel or you want to write a script, right? So that's why I'm presenting to you as a second video. So that's all I have for this video, and I hope this video was able to provide you some ideas and some inspiration, or at least get your mind rolling and working on how you can present your comic and what format you can go with. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the length of the comic, and I'm mostly going to structure it as talking about pros and cons of short comic versus long comic, and just explain to you kind of what I noticed about this, so you can keep it in mind and be aware, be prepared, know what you will be dealing with. So, but this is coming for the next video, and that's this for this video. If you have your own experiences, or for example, you have your favorite comics that you really like the format of, please leave them down below in the links. I'm always open to learning more about comics, and I'm sure other people will too. So thank you so much guys for tuning in for this one, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you guys.